All right, man, you want to talk any about this? Intro the place, and
Sure. So this is
while you're talking, I will kind of be zooming around a
yeah.
little
So
bit.
this is the remnants of where Sherwood Elementary School was, and we went. It was K through 6th grade. I went 1st through 6th here. Dusty went
Kindergarten and then
Kindergarten.
3rd through 6th.
and skipped, and then came back 3rd through 6th. He went to Noyes in between that period of time, and I went to Noyes for kindergarten. So it was a small community school that stood here. It was 2-story, and this was the entrance steps right here. That was the front step. So the front of the building would have stood right here. And they were even with that. So the front of the step going up into the school would have been right here. This was our upper playground over here, and those steps would go up there. And there was an alleyway that kind of went up to where that wall is, and there was a furnace that stood there, and that's where our janitor, Mr. Miller,
That's right.
that's where he would burn cardboard and trash and things of that nature, and it was an incinerator. And there was also a basement that went down in there to where the boiler was, so they filled all that in now. That was the back playground there. There was a swing set that ran across where that bank is back there. There was a merry-go-round
Yep.
that was over here to the right side. And I think there was probably some bicycle racks up against the building. So that
Yeah.
was our lower playground, and that was the upper playground. We had some mad kickball games up there. And a lot of times the ball would go over the fence, then it's gone. Taking forever to reclaim it. When Dusty and I would get out of school, we had about a 1, 2, 3 block walk home, and we would walk downhill to school and back uphill going back home to 3107 Felix Street.
Yeah, that was straight up that way.
Yep, it was a great community, great little school, and this is how people grew up in the 70s. Now they've turned it into a little park. There's no such thing as community schools anymore. Everybody's bust into a bigger school.
And this here was a little store. I think you could go in there. It was just wasn't a full-blown grocery store.
I don't think that was even open when I was a kid as a store.
Seems like it was, but I could be wrong.
You go down that street
Yeah.
to the Wallabies.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
The 6th grade boys would serve as patrol boys here, and the 6th grade girls would work in the lunchroom in the kitchen and learn their domestic skills there back in the 70s. They would literally put 6th grade boys in charge of stopping traffic
That's right.
along this street and even down on Noyes Boulevard in order to allow younger children to cross the street.
I don't.
It
I
was
was
just a different time. You know, the patrol boys would stand next to the white. We would have one on each corner of the street. One would stop traffic that way, one would stop it this way, and we would allow the children to cross. We were only 6th graders.
I was trying to catch these street markers.
Yeah.
I think there's one here. No, it's just that one over there. There's the only one left on this corner.
So here now, this is called Sherwood Park. Neighborhood owned and maintained since 1990, so I'm assuming that's when the school was torn down, or
Yeah, I'm
at
guessing.
least when it was turned into a park.
Yeah,
1990.
guessing that.
That's good. This was a fabulous place to grow up. That wall, when we were kids, seemed like it was 10 stories tall.
Yep.
The boys would always climb that bank down there and scooch up along and walk between the fence and the outside of that just to hear people scream and scare them.
I'm gonna walk up these steps.
Yep.
I got a little point of a little
Walk through
tidbit.
To the upper playground.
When I was in, you had Cub Scouts, and then you had Webelos, and then you had Boy Scouts.
In that house.
I think I went from Cub Scouts into Webelos right there in that house right
Yeah, and I
there.
can't remember who
She was the den mother. I'm
Yeah, I
not
can't-
sure. Well, I have no idea what her name was. But that was it right there. I don't know what these bushes are, man, but they are beautiful. Always are. But yeah, we come up
The
here.
same old rails that were here in the 70s
Yeah.
when we were kids.
Absolutely.
The same rails No question about it. No question. Look at that.
Our fingerprints on here as a child. I can tell you one other thing that's really cool. I remember we were up here recess. Now these basketball goals didn't
They were not here. This was.
You had a.
There
This was
a
like a diamond, yeah.
There was a diamond there and a diamond there.
Played softball or whatever.
There was some monkey bars over here. I remember that.
But I remember one day, a little windy today, we were out here playing. Now all these trees were nowhere near this height.
Right.
You could see forever out that way, especially these right here. And I remember us out here, and it got a little dark outside, but it was not lightning, wasn't even raining, nothing, no thunder. And looked over there, and in that right in there, right there where my fingers point, there was a funnel cloud just hanging there. But nothing to indicate that it was a tornado other than that. And then later on, and you know, the teachers didn't take us in, there was no tornado drill, there was no nothing. And later on that day, or that evening, the evening paper had the picture of it. And they called it a funnel cloud. And I don't remember what else they talked about. But I thought that was pretty cool. I remember that sticks out in my mind.
I can remember some of the guys, they got a good kick on a kickball, and it got a good bounce. It would go over that fence. And I can remember
You're running for miles.
boys running out this, running down the street after it until they could catch it. Sometimes it was all the way down to Noise before they would catch it. But they would catch it and they'd bring it back. We couldn't afford to lose, you know, a kickball. But,
Man, they've really cleaned a lot of these houses up. They look good. Real good.
I think I went to Cub Scouts in the basement of that house too, and I don't know who the dead mother was. It was one of our classmates, I'm certain, but I don't remember
Yeah.
who it would have been.
So anyway, there you go.
I saw somebody out of that.
It was good times,
time.
folks.
This playground,
I would wish it on anybody.
when we were kids, this playground seemed like it was 100 yards long.
Yeah, it
200
did.
yards wide, but it's really just a lot.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's amazing.
A lot that a house would stand on. It probably did at one time. Good
Maybe.
times. I would wish it on anybody myself.
Well, there you go,
There are
everybody.
no times like this any longer.
Yeah. So that's our little story about Sherwood Elementary
Elementary. Rest in
and
peace.
our childhood school days.
Can you see the high school from here?
And you've already seen my junior high school.
Can you see the high school?
Well, that's the hill going up beside it, but no, you got that tree in the way in this house, so you cannot see the high school from here. We'll catch that later at some point. We're gonna ease on up and catch some video of where we used to live and all that kind of stuff. For now, peace out. I'm gonna add so. We good?
Yep.
So my fondest memories here at Corby Pond. Of course, it was my favorite childhood fishing hole back in the 70s. Come down here. That's pretty much it. I mean, you know, I could fish down here all day. Come down here and fish after school. One time I was picked up by the police chief by my parents' wish to come and get me. I don't know, they had some commitment, needed me to show up, and here I was down here fishing, and he pulled up. Then that was kind of scary, but it all turned out good. The rest of it's just, this is the entry, basically, to come by here at the Krug Park. We spent, I don't know how many miles we put on bicycles up in there, but we did, and take a picnic lunch. Those were good days, you know. We didn't sit at home. We got out, we got exercise, we got dirty. We ate dirty. But that's my favorite times, and I don't regret them.
You know what I remember most about Krug Park when we were here in the 70s were the summers. Now, Dusty and I were latchkey kids, and during the summer we were our own entertainment, and we didn't have computers and we didn't have cell phones, and we didn't have any kind of video games. What we had were each other, and we had bicycles, and we had friends, and we would, on any given day of the week, we decided to make a trek over to Krug Park. And we lived in the 3100 block of Felix, so a trek over to Krug Park was an all-day thing for us. And we would round up a few of our neighborhood friends if they were available, and we would sack a lunch, and that probably consisted of a peanut butter sandwich and maybe some chips of a nature and something to drink. And we would attach it to our bicycles in any given manner, tape or whatever. Our bicycles didn't have gears, and they didn't have motors, and they didn't have fancy anything. They were bicycles that had pedals and they had brakes. They didn't have fenders. They were just bicycles. And we would get on those things and we would ride to Krug Park. And we would have to cross a couple of pretty big streets, as I look back at them now. Noyes and St. Joe Avenue. Now we're talking about 5th and 6th grade boys here. And we didn't think anything about it. You would not dare let your 5th and 6th grade boys or girls leave home by themselves and bicycle across town to a city park. And the thing is, our parents didn't even know where we were. We weren't hurting anything. We weren't tearing up anything. We weren't breaking any laws. We were just being boys. We were having a good time. We were doing what we could do to occupy our time and to enjoy it. So we would bicycle over here to Krug Park, and we would start the long trek up and around. And we would always wait till we got to the top of the hill to stop and eat our lunch. And we would rest and eat our lunch and catch our breath. Then we would start to drive down the other side of Krug Park, and we would get those bicycles going, I don't know, at least 200 or 300 miles an hour down that road as fast as we could, wind in our hair. Sometimes we'd make a second track around. Most of the time we wouldn't. We would spend an hour or 2 hours up here playing, enjoying things, looking at things, just being boys. And then we would trek home. We would bicycle back home, and we'd be home at the end of the day. We would have a good time. It was good, clean fun. And that's what I remember most about Krug Park. It was just it was a destination 2 or 3 times a summer, and it was an all-day affair. And we had fun, and times were great in the 70s.